Hello everybody, welcome to another Sparking Interest. I'm here with Gerry, who is from the organisers, or is the organiser of FIREX, the world-renowned fire exhibition at London XL, which is due again to start in May. Gerry, hello.
Hi, Mike, how are you?
It doesn't seem a year since we were talking last time in terms of FIREX. In fact, I think it was about this time. It was around about mid-Feb.
Yeah.
And we were talking about coming out of the back of COVID, how companies were going to effectively remobilise themselves into coming back into live events and dare I say it, mixing with people. There's a thought. And a year later, we're here again. It doesn't seem that long ago. So for 2023 FIREX, we'll talk about that in a minute in terms of what people can expect. But let's just do a quick synopsis on last year. How did the show go? How did you think the engagement was? Were there things that effectively you thought were going to happen and didn't maybe, or things that were more unexpected as a nice surprise?
Yeah, I mean, last year was interesting because, it was the first time that anyone had been together for 3 years, actually, because the last time we actually had a FIREX was May 2019. So
wow,
the COVID period really knocked us for 6. And as a event organizer, where you're sort of your collateral is people effectively, and you can't really get them together in one place. It was a very, very frustrating period. But yeah, last year was really fulfilling, I think is the word I'll say, because nobody really knew what to expect. Registrations were all over the place. We had no idea really what was going to come out of it in terms of audience. We were particularly not expecting a huge amount of international visitors because obviously certain countries still weren't travelling.
Yeah.
But what actually came out of it in the end was really, really fulfilling and really satisfying. So as a first one back, we were really happy. And we did actually see some internationals came through the door. I think about 11% of the audience actually last year were from non-UK areas. So it was brilliant. And it was the first year where we'd made this commitment to be, a show that supports third-party approval. That's now a condition for people exhibiting. We won't take you unless you've got a recognised certification, because we want to be like you. We want to align ourselves to your objectives and your ambitions, as we do with all our partners. We want to drive up the competency levels at the show, and we want to make sure that it's an area when people are walking into FIREX, they're in an environment which is all about approvals and competency and doing the best things. So yeah, it was a really, really great return to form, and we're just building on that now for next year and getting back to where we were.
And I think it has been quite a bit of a challenge for certainly live events to sort of get back on their feet. And I think our experience of the shows we did last year with our members was that there's still an appetite for face-to-face engagement. We're obsessed with the idea of teams and technology, which is great, and I don't think we'll ever move away from that completely. We at the ASFP do quite a lot of our stuff on Teams where we need to, but like we're here today, you can't beat that one-to-one sort of connection in a meeting. We've just had a meeting about the show this year and how ASFP is going to support you with our members, and I don't think we would have quite got the level of engagement that we would have done if it was on a Teams call. Looking at designs, thinking on our feet slightly about how we're going to accommodate certain things. So in terms of this year, we're going to have the ASFP Pavilion there. Our members hopefully will all come and surround us. I know we've got quite a few, but ASFP members, please, if you are engaging with, or if you want to engage with your customer base or key stakeholders, you still can't beat being at a trade show, exhibiting at a trade show. There are a few spaces left, and I know we're going to talk about a few options that people can have to exhibit, including a genius idea of a pod, which I think is excellent. And in terms of the ASFP, so we're going to have our Passive Fire Experience trailer there, which is going to cover about VR training. That is pretty, I'm not going to say it's revolutionary because the technology is a few years old, but in terms of our industry, it is pretty revolutionary. And I think, anyone visiting FIREX will certainly benefit from coming on the trailer and having a look, because I think whether they're actually directly involved in passive fire or some other industry, VR and 360 learning or engagement is going to be something that they will come across more and more and more. They'll be, they'll familiarise themselves with it more. So in terms of this year, because it's not just FIREX, of course. You have the facilities, you have health and safety.
And IFSEC as well, yeah.
Yeah, and IFSEC as well. I do remember last year going into the health and safety show and stealing some hand gel. I can't remember who it was from, and I do apologise to that company for stealing hand gel. We ran out on our stand. So what have people got to look forward to this year? What is different? Is there any notable exhibitors that went there last year?
Yeah, we've got the likes of, I mean, on the active side, obviously, we've got the likes of Advanced have returned, Apollo Fire Detectors have returned. On the passive side, Rockwell are back in play. Hilti are back as well, so there's good representation from the key ASFP members as well. Again, we've got the Tall Buildings Fire Safety Conference is taking place alongside the show as well, which always brings in a very, very really good audience of end users and specifiers to that. We've got the seminar program is up and running. All those sessions are going to be CPD this year, so they'll be CPD approved. So visitors can actually get some valuable time when they're there as well. We've got the lounge area, the bars. We've got the Kentec Cafe is back again. But effectively, it's for us, it's the ability to be able to cross-pollinate the audiences is hugely important. And this year, we're going to make a huge surge into the facility side. We've discovered over the sort of last 2 or 3 years that a lot of the facility show visitors are actually coming into FIREX. Yeah. The reason primarily is they really want to understand what the responsibilities are now in the post-Grenfell world. It's where do they sit, what do they need to know about. So FIREX can actually deliver to them a huge range of knowing and understanding and expertise and guidance from a huge range of fire safety experts, and also from an ASFP point of view. They come and see you, come see your members to really understand the complexities really of what you represent, because basically what you're representing is the unseen fire safety side of things. This is all the materials that go into making a structure safe and what have you. So, and the only place they can learn it from really is somewhere like FIREX, where you think about it, you've got all the experts are in one place at one point. So if you do have any concerns about fire safety, it's the place to come. We've also now got the Elizabeth line up and running in London, which is fantastic. You can actually get to Excel in 15 minutes from central London. If you're coming in from Heathrow, it's 45 minutes. If you're coming from the East End, it's 7 minutes from Whitechapel. So as a connection now between the venue and London, it's absolutely seamless. It's made what was a challenging journey much better now, much easier. So if you're coming from the north, you come into Euston, you go to Tottenham Court Road, you're 15 minutes to Excel. So it's been a bit of a game changer really in terms of what it's done for the event. This year also we've got a charity that we're supporting called Mates in Mind, which is all to do with mental health and wellbeing in the construction sector. So we've actually partnered with them, and they're going to be doing a seminar on wellbeing in the fire safety sector on Wednesday. And they're also going to be lots of Mates in Mind branding and QR codes all around the show, and it'd be great if ASFP actually got behind that as well. So we'll make sure that you're part of the partnership for that. Yeah, no, love to. I mean, we support a number of different organisations in terms of in getting those our members to engage with those organisations for various reasons. So, in terms of exhibiting, we've got probably a good 3 or 4 months of getting people to get themselves organised and get to Excel. Available stand space, we were looking at the plans, there's a few around the passive fire pavilion. And if you're thinking about coming and exhibiting, it's more affordable than you think, I think is probably where we're at. So one of the things you've been talking to us about today was these pods. So in terms of space, they're a couple of square metres? Yeah, they kind of occupy a 3x2 area. Yeah. Effectively what you have is a back wall which is actually designed to your graphics, so you can have a complete graphic display. So you don't have to bring the old pull-up banners that you have to take home with you. Yeah, and you can have a screen and a lockable cupboard and a couple of stools. And we're doing it because we're aware of the cost of living, we're aware of the impacts of the economy on businesses, and we don't feel that we should be becoming an expensive thing for people to do. Yeah. So anyone can take a pod. It's an entry level. It's £1,750 to do it. For that, you get full exhibitor status at the show. I would encourage, ASFP members who are sitting on the fence about coming to do it, because the one thing you've got to remember with FIREX is you're getting access to an incredible array of customers.
Yeah.
Not just from the fire safety sector, but also facilities, also the safety and health sector. All our shows blend together really, really well as one unit. So, for that kind of price, it's a great way to engage with them. We've also got IFSEC's 50th birthday party on Tuesday night, because IFSEC is turning 50, and kind of by definition, so is FIREX, because they both started out together.
Yeah.
For companies that want to take part, I would, participate, be part of it, because the face-to-face engagement with your customers is absolutely paramount. You can't do this any other way. And why not do it at a show which is, has a long reputation, it's been long-standing. We've got a great partnership with you guys, and we've now got this specific offer, which means that entry level is under £2,000.
Yeah, and I think that's important for people to understand, because I think quite often, if you've never done a show at FIREX, for instance, you have this perception that it's maybe much more expensive than you think it is. You got to get there, you may have to stay in a hotel, but the actual cost of attending, exhibiting at the show, I'm not sure if you wouldn't, but our member demographic is changing. ASFP was traditionally a manufacturing member company. At the moment, for every one manufacturing member we have 2.5 specialist subcontractor members. That means the dynamic of our membership the demographic is changing, and therefore the dynamic of the ASFP is changing. And quite a lot of our contractor members probably wouldn't think that having a large trade stand, as much as the manufacturers don't really think anything about it, your Rockwalls and various other large manufacturers, to them it's second nature. But if you're a sort of mid-size SME contractor member, you might not, have the assets or the cash to be able to develop or commit to that sort of investment. So the type of pod that you're talking about, it's minimum sort of advertising assets. You can design these, because I know you've got this new system of designing effectively the walls for them, so it's their graphics and their information. They can turn up with minimum assets, their laptops, their brochures, anything else, maybe a few freebies they want to give away, and they can literally spend 3 days just having conversations with either primary stakeholders that can influence them positively, or tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 contractors that may want to procure their services.
Absolutely.
And they can spend 3 days doing that. Yeah. And actually, the results will probably be quite positive, because of course, bearing in mind it's all about the follow-up, so they've still got the work to do afterwards. But if they weren't, ask themselves a question: if they weren't there, what level of opportunity may they have missed? So for a minimum investment, I think that's quite a good, and certainly for our contractor members, that's something that is a good investment, a good spend, to spend 3 days creating a lot of opportunity for yourself for the pipeline.
And it comes back to the point again that your members are third party approved.
Yeah.
They're in an environment which is supporting,
of course,
what they're committed to. So this is what we're aiming to do. We really want to make FIREX this, high level, high bar, opportunity to engage with customers, and for them to actually explain why they have the approvals to the customer. Hugely important. There's an education piece there to tell the customer that the reason we have an approval is for this reason. In fire safety, there's no risks. You don't take risks in this. It has to be absolutely 100% nailed on. So we just think the environment that we're creating is very good for your members to be part of it. The pods, going back to the pods, we love them as well because they're very sustainable. They can be reused year after year. Sustainability for us now is a huge consideration as part of what we're doing. We want to be, the most sustainable fire safety show in the UK. We are committed to it as Informa as a company. A lot of the materials now we're looking at using all completely recyclable. We're looking at zero wastage by 2025. So, where we're moving as a company and where the show is moving is into a very, very good space where we're promoting competency and we're promoting sustainability and we're promoting diversity and inclusion. And that's where we're at as a show.
And I suppose from a facilities point of view, because obviously the part of, we're on the FIREX part, but the facility show is, a lot of that is about sustainability, I would assume, and they're driving that agenda, I'd imagine, quite hard.
100%.
And for us, of course, because FIREX is one of a sum of a series of parts. We do recognise, and we have the stats to show that we attract other delegates effectively coming from those other shows to understand more about fire. So the ASFP Passive Experience trailer is going to be there this year.
Brilliant, yeah.
That's going to be the VR system that's going to expose people to what passive fire looks like in a 360 environment. And that isn't just necessarily for your specialist subby. It is designed for designers to experience what passive fire looks like, to build an appreciation. So when they're designing in passive fire, they design it in a way that doesn't cause problems further down the supply chain, as much as facilities management, who are responsible for the buildings post handover, what challenges they face in terms of how they then manage those buildings post occupancy. So we get a broad spectrum of people coming to understand what we do, and we'll continue to drive that agenda and support those stakeholders. Some of them may not even have a need to join the ASFP as a company member. What we are seeing is a lot of inquiries and joining of individuals that work in those disciplines, maybe an architect's practice or facilities management company, that is the go-to fire person, and therefore they want to join as an individual and get the benefit of that membership. So for us and for you, this will be a new thing. Very much so, yeah. For anyone that's a complete anorak, there's also going to be a Land Rover there as well for you to drool over, all marked up with the ASFP logo. And by the way, it's not for hire, it's ours. We will see you in May. We will continue to obviously engage with our members to get them to exhibit. And I will continue to promote the show as we've always done with you, because part of our success is your success, and we've definitely proven that. And we hope to see obviously more of our members at the show this year, so they can benefit from what effectively the growth that's coming down the tracks.
Absolutely, yeah.
And of course, your third-party certification requirement is absolutely in line with, of course, what HM government is now saying, that all critical life safety products have to be third-party certified within the construction industry. It's a prerequisite, so it's not going to go away.
No, exactly.
So we're happy to support that, because, of course, it's been a prerequisite of ours for a long time now. It's not something new. We haven't just jumped on the idea ourselves. It's what sets ASFP members apart from possibly other members of other trade associations.
I think as well, from our point of view, it's a case of we're not just here to sell space for the transaction. No. As far as we're concerned, life safety is a right. It's not a privilege. Yeah. It's what we're about.
Of course. Yeah.
And we're committed to that.
Well, listen, thank you for coming in. We had a great meeting earlier on. We thought we'd take this opportunity to have a chat with Gerry, just to talk about FIREX 2023 and what people can expect. If you haven't already considered exhibiting, either give ASFP a call or send us an email. A call. Who phones anybody these days? Really, these days.
Teams call.
Teams call us, or even pick up the telephone, or drop us an email, and we'll pass your details on to Gerry and the team. Or contact the organisers directly. If you just Google FIREX, all of their details will come up on their website. And if you're a member of the ASFP, then please ask to be somewhere situated as close to the ASFP pavilion as you possibly can, because of course membership does really have its benefits. Absolutely. Gerry, pleasure to see you.
Cheers, Mike. Thanks.
See you again soon.
Take care.
Don't leave it another year.
I know.